Welcome back, everyone. Finally, the tier list is here. I know some of you have been waiting for this, so here I am. I literally woke up today. The first thing I did was turn on my PC and start recording this. So let's get to it. This is update 11, I believe. And of course, with a new update, new balance changes. So first, I'm going to go over the balance changes. Then I'm going to change the positions of all the fruits, and then at the end, I will rank gold and smoke, or Goru and Moku. Well then, let's get started. First, let's go to the balance changes. Right, so here we are. A bunch of stuff I skipped, but here we are in the balance changes. Uh, First things first, story received a buff to its scaling. Now your talents also scale with Ilford, which is really cool. It has light weapon scaling, so it's not gonna be insane damage, but it's something something. You can put everything into Tori, and then you're gonna be able to do anything. Sadly, this is pretty bad in PvP, so might as well go for a weapon. But we're not talking about PvP. Anyways, triple hit talent, first hit stun increase. That's just gonna make it a little bit more consistent, but mostly a PvP change doesn't really matter. Now PKB2, the first one doesn't really matter because in PvE you're not gonna be worrying about that, but the damage was decreased by 40%, and that is really bad. From maybe 200 damage is going to be doing around 160 damage or so. Now this cooldown, I'm not sure if it's a nerf or a buff, but it's now 15 seconds. Maybe a buff, I guess. I don't know. Now we have Mago, Magma Swamp, cancel on perfect block. That's not that bad. Now Buddha had a pretty significant nerf. So if you remember correctly, or if you have Buddha, whenever you ulted, you would heal your, basically a lot. You would heal quite a lot. You remove the heal. I honestly don't know why. Passive mode again out of combat. Cool. Spine Breaker Shadow. They basically broke up the combo you could do. You can no longer do it, maybe. Now Yuki, Moshi, nothing happened to Moshi. Now Yuki had a pretty significant buff in Snow Gust. The damage scaling was increased by 50%. That's insane. But other than that, still pretty much the same. Paul? Paul also received a significant buff. Now the damage for Ursus Shock is or stop scaling after 40% HP. Not really sure which one is Ursus Shock. I think it's the ultimate. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the ultimate. So that means that if you're below 40% or at 40%, you're gonna be doing maximum damage. Power bomb stun increase slightly, meh, doesn't matter. Power bomb knockback, meh, doesn't matter. Power barrage, now this one's a pretty good one. The power barrage startup was increased, right? So it's bad, but breaks block after 0.5. You know how fast is 0.5? It's really fast. 0.5. Like, I could predict, like, after 3 hits of your barrage, they're gonna get block broken, which is insane. They won't have enough time to get out. They basically have to take the whole thing. Right, let's say you're blocking and they do barrage. Well, you either stay there and try to dash out, or you get block broken and you take the whole thing, or you let go and just accept your fate. That's how it is. And the fact that it's 0.5, I don't think you have enough time to react to it. Let's say you're already blocking, they start doing the barrage, and I think you'd have to take advantage of the new startup to be able to dodge this move because the 0.5 block break is crazy. Now, one of my favorite, my favorite rare fruit, honestly, got a massive buff. Barry scaling increased by 30% overall. Like every move now has even more damage, like 30% more. Everything is insane. That's insane, but it's still, of course, not a bomb, so it's not gonna be the best FPV. But honestly, I have fun with this fruit. It's really fun. Next, we have Suchi. Nothing happened. All right, Mara, another significant nerf. The flight. That's the same thing as Sushi. We have Fireflies. Reverted back, but slightly higher cooldown. So what they did is before, Fireflies had this insane stun, where if one hit, then all the other Fireflies hit. But it had the same damage, and it had the same stupid cooldown. So it was really overpowered. So they removed all of that and they reverted it back to what it was, which was just like Fireflies, very easy to parry. And now they made it have a higher cooldown and with lower damage scaling. So it's gonna have the same broken stun. So your combos are gonna be pretty crazy in PvP, but nothing in PvE. And your cooldown will be higher. In fact, by it's exactly 15 seconds. And your damage will be 30% less. So Fireflies used to do around maybe 220 damage. Unsure how much, but with the reduced scaling, it probably does either 200 damage or 190 damage, something like that. Next we have Hiken. The distance was increased by 50%, so you're gonna have 50% more range on Hiken. So you're gonna be sniping people. I don't know why this was needed. I thought, Mara Fist or Hiken was really good already, but oh well. Mara. Mara's still broken in my opinion. Now this change right here is what makes Mara not so good anymore, in my opinion. Oh, it's still really good, but this change right here. Alright, why do you think I'm saying it's not that good anymore if it's a buff? Well, here's the thing. A developer from the GPO team explained that they nerfed the crap out of the hitbox, so the AoE of Hiken. And they did it so much that they had to buff it again. And in this patch note, I don't know why they didn't just say they nerfed the crap out of it. But this change here is meant to be the buff it received after the insane nerf it got. So, you're going to be experiencing a very, very small AoE in Hiken now. And this buff here was after they nerfed it to the ground. They made it so tiny they had to buff it. So that increased a bit was just a slight buff after the nerf. Just making things clear. Suna, that doesn't matter. Okay, Ope, another stray nerf for no reason. I don't know why they're making Ope worse. The fact that Gamma Knife no longer allows damage from outside sources is insane. Maybe it was the 2v2s and Battle Royale thing, but meh. Why? I don't know. Heal is just fix an exploit, and Drawdown is the same thing, so that's about it for all the balance changes. Let's move over to the tier list. Right, so we're back at the tier list. Now I'm gonna make some very significant changes to the tier list with the new balances. So let's start from the bottom. Now, no change in F tier. I'm inclined to put Bari on C tier because of the new damage buffs. Bari it has some good stuff going on. First, the barrier. I believe with 300 points, the barrier was doing 80 damage, and the barrier, you know how much AoE that thing has. And it's very spammable too. Very spammable. So imagine if it did 80 before, imagine dumping everything into Bari with the new scaling. I think that's pretty good. I think it might be doing up to 150 damage, and it's really spammable and has some good AoE. And not just that, but it creates a wall between the NPCs and you, so they can't hit you while you're holding this move. Of course, you can also use this as a cheap Takai, basically, if there's a projectile type of boss. In fact, I've never seen this used for the Radiant Admiral boss fight. You know how everything he does is projectiles, so imagine just taking this out and blocking everything and the cannons and everything. That's pretty cool, actually. If it works that way, of course. I myself haven't tested it. But Bari is now in C tier, so welcome to C tier. One of my favorite, in fact, my favorite rare fruit. Mara, nothing changed. Horror, nothing changed. Still okay, I guess. Kage, nothing changed. Gomu, nothing changed. And Yomi, nothing changed. Actually, I'm going to put Yomi below Gomu because of Gomu's barrage, and having a barrage that does a lot of damage is pretty good. Next, we have Pa. Pa stays the same. Gomu stays the same, and I'm inclined to put Bomu above Sushi because of mine. Sushi doesn't have anything like that other than the ult, and of course the singular meteor. Bomu has mines, which you can lure bosses to, and they do 85 damage per mine, which is insane. You can hold a move to increase the AoE, which is going to make it a lot. Now you can pair this up with the new GT that allows you to move while you impale somebody, and since it lasts so long, you can impale the boss into the mines to do a lot of damage. Of course, very niche, and it only works on singular NPCs because, well, you're not gonna be impaling a bunch of NPCs, right? Because you can't. You can only do one at a time. But Momo is still really good for PvE in general. It's the best for rare fruit for PvE if you don't have money. Also, let me explain something that I see nobody like saying. So, if you're a new player and you don't have anything, right? And you want at least Bomu, well, you're gonna have to at least access the second C. After you access the second C, you're going to be able to travel to Dressrosa. And in Dressrosa, uh, people do a lot of lab raids, right? And in those lab raids, you get fruits. So when you get to the lab, you're gonna notice that probably if people have been farming that in the server, there's gonna be a bunch of rare fruits laying around because nobody wants them. You could just go there and pick up your fruits, right? So you can eat a bomu there, and you can have an easier life. Anyways, enough of that. Goro. In my opinion, Goro is. I slept on Goro, honestly. It is my favorite Logia in GPO because my favorite Logia overall is Pika. Like in the series, in the anime, and whatever, in the manga. But Goro is so fun in GPO. And honestly, I would eat this and just stay with this because it's so fun. Of course, it's not as good in PvE and it's not as good in PvP, but it's just so fun. I honestly would eat this and stay with this forever. Anyways, Goro has the thunder thing, which hits multiple times and does very significant damage. Then it has the reliable projectile that stuns for quite a lot of time, surprisingly long time. And then it has the ultimate, your basic Marrow ult that does quite a bit. I think it's actually bigger, so it's technically better. What else? And it looks cooler too, like massive Raigo up in the air. It's really cool. You got a guard break, really good guard break. It teleports, and you teleport into people. Really good for a bunch of NPCs. The flight is my favorite. It's not the fastest, but you can just fly anywhere you want. It's still really fast. The stamina consumption is not that bad. It's like about as good as Maris and Goros. I think it's faster. It looked really cool too. Very easy to move. Very good. I know. Now, why am I glazing Goro so much? It's because I think it's going to be better than all this. Now, Yuki, with the new buff, definitely deserves to be better than Hiei. And Hiei, I glazed Hiei a bit too much because what's good about Hiei is the fact that you can farm ships or chip farm, and you can, well, I guess, do decent damage to Krakens. But if you think about it further, what else can it do? All it can do is he is stump, he is stump, he is stump, and that's it. Nothing else is good. The ult does very little damage, and it's just PvP. Um, Pheasant Beak is good, but it's just another PvP combo extender. It's a PvP fruit, okay? So EA can walk on water and all that, but it's only good in ship farming and decent in Kraken farming. Everywhere else, you're not gonna be doing good with it. So EA is now bottom of A tier. Because still, I think, in my opinion, it's still pretty good for, it's still low, yeah. Now, we have Yuki. Yuki is really good. Having a very small cap, 545 into the fruit is enough to max out all the moves. Having a small cap is good because that means you can put everything else into health, stamina, or weapon mastery, or strength, and whatever. And with the new fighting styles like Kamishiki being good for PvE, and what's the other one? Iron Fist. Iron Fist, the new one with Galaxy Impact, which looks insane. Those two like styles are really good for PvP. Actually, I mean PvE. Sorry, surprisingly. And you can pair them up since they're strength based. You can pair them up with weapons, and you have the full combo. You got whatever fruit you have plus Iron Fist plus the weapon. So Iron Fist is honestly the way to go now. Right, you can have Cyborg, but Cyborg is really boring. Like it's boring. And the only good thing about it is the barrage, right? And it gets really boring. So of course it's still the king of styles, the king of PvE styles. But Iron Fist is honestly a close second, in my opinion. Okay, maybe Dullahan has something, but Dullahan is exclusive, it's a limited, and not everyone has the race rerolls for that garbage. And also, Iron Fist is, well, for those who have fruits and stuff and, have a bit of wealth, it's really easy to get. You just fight uh, Roger, you fight um, Captain Sen, or, Whitebeard. You kill a couple sharks. You can just tell people to go to your private server and we're farming sharks. Or you can go to somebody's server who's farming sharks and you can just go there and, steal 2 kills and leave. Then you have the hardest part, which is Lucy, the Coliseum. But I'm pretty sure that with the recent update, there's people doing a lot of Coliseum, so you can get in there. Just try to survive. You may not like apport anything, like give anything, but just try to survive. If the people are good enough, they'll be able to carry you through the Lucy fight, and you'll be able to get it. Right. So next we have S tier. Yami, I'm going to lower it to A tier. The Yami, you can put a lot of points into Yami and it'll do us an insane amount of damage, right? But the stamina consumption is so bad, especially with the new update, that you just have like asthma level 5. So yeah, and I think the cooldowns are not that but the gap between Suna and Yami I think is pretty big because as we're going to with Suna now, Suna has the Storm. The Storm is really good. You can throw that. It has a horrible startup, but honestly, the startup doesn't look good. Like it looks like the startup is not meant to be. But oh well. The Storm is really good for AOE. It hits multiple times. That's a lot of damage, and it stuns them for that period of time. We have the Spada, which is an insane move that hits multiple times, guard breaks, and it hits multiple times for bosses, but it's still really good for just single bosses too. It's just a singular like 200 damage or something. It's still really good. It's really fast too. It has decent AOE for such a move. Then we have Desert's. What's the name of that? Desert Railgun or something like that. It traps all the NPCs together and then boom, and it has a flight. And what else? Well, the other moves that we don't really matter, but I guess just cool combos. But this fruit is really good for krakens, for any big bosses that you wanna farm. It does a lot of damage, and yeah, that's about it. So Yami, I lowered it despite its moves. I lowered it because it's really bad to use in my opinion. When I used it, I was running out of stamina a lot, and especially now with the stamina nerf update. Uh, well, it does have the like that move that shoots a bunch of rocks. And it does have pretty good AOE, but they get cancelled pretty often. Okay, nah, honestly, and I'm gonna put it above Suna. Yeah, there we go. All right, yeah, my bad. Yeah, me in my head right now, look, the damage it does is crazy, and it has some pretty good PVE moves. The Black Star, whatever, is okay, I guess. It's not crazy. Sucks in a lot of NPC and then blows them up. It's just I don't want to put it here because genuinely I don't like it, but in theory, in my head, it should work really well for PvE because of you can dump everything into it and every move does an insane amount of damage. And it should, in theory, be good, but the stamina consumption is insane. All right, we're moving to Gura. Gura suddenly, I don't know why, became the meta for everything. Gura is the meta for Colosseum. Gura is really good for dungeons. Well, no, not dungeons. It's the best for dungeons, honestly. Gura is the best for basically anything that involves multiple NPCs. So, best for bandit beating farming. Best for NPC farming. And now for boss fighting is the only, you know, the only downside of this fruit, to be honest. It's not that good because it does a lot of damage to multiple NPCs, but the its singular damage is not really that good. You have to put a bunch into it to do some decent damage. But it's still really good. What else? We have for ship farming. It has the potential to be insane if you like lower all the ships together and then you let go of blast clutcher and the tsunami. It has potential for ship farming too. Uh, what else? We have Impel Down. Impel Down, it's really good, especially with the low health of bosses. So you're gonna be doing insane amounts of damage, and the AOE is gonna be insane. You're gonna be getting MVP with this fruit all the time. This fruit is just good. It's really good. It's like the meta for PVE. So I'm inclined to put it above because the only downside is that it's not good for bosses, but it's still really good. Because the ult and the grab, the counter. There's a lot of stuff you can do with this fruit. And for PvP, it's meta. PvP is, I think it's the top meta. Like, top meta. Top meta. Like, top meta. Top of the meta. A couple days ago, I went on my arena 1v1s because, well, I do like 1v1s and I have the Immortal title too because I like it that much. And I went there and I saw everyone using Gura. Everyone was using Gura and they were not like making me have fun, letting me have fun. I was using Iron Fist only, so it's that's a very bad build, and I just wanted to have fun. And of course, you can't have fun in GPO. So everyone was using Gora, everyone was using Iron Fist, and everyone was using what's the name? What's the name of that weapon? Damn, I, gauntlets. Everyone was using gauntlets. Yeah, gauntlets, and yeah, it was just the most meta thing you could ever see. And for your sake and for your mental health, please do not do arena 1v1s. You're not gonna like them unless you're going meta. So please stay away from 2v2. Stay away from Battle Royale 2. Battle Royale is just, if you want to lose your brain cells, please go to Battle Royale then. But other than that, don't do Battle Royale. It's not fun. Arena is not fun. 2v2 is not fun. Conquest is not fun. I can guarantee you that. Alright. Mochi. Look, Mochi has always been decent in PvE, and also in PvP. It's really good in PvP. I still see a Mochi every once in a while, but Mochi is really good in PvE. Like you got Mochi Chestnut, which is almost like Pika Laser, but slightly better. Well, slightly worse now if we account for the V2, but we had Chestnut. We have the ult that is the best. I think one of the best ults for Colosseum, and also one of the best ults for dungeons. One of the best ults for, well, not that good for Impel Down because there's not that many NPCs, but it has its uses. It has the barrage that you can do from far away, and it stuns, and it combo extends. You have Mochi Drops, which is really good for multiple NPCs, and it does quite a lot of damage. You got two moves that are basically the exact same thing, that Guard Break, and they're okay, I guess. And then, what else do you have? Oh yeah, that's about it. And you have the Ken Hagi. The Ken Hagi for Mochi is so disgustingly broken that people eat Mochi just to have Ken. It's so disgusting. The only thing that can break it is of course a guard break. But if you're, it happened to me. A guy was in arena using Iron Fist and something else, but he had Mochi, and all he did, he didn't do Mochi moves. All he had Mochi for was the Ken V2, which is insane. Iron Fist technically has a lot of guard breaks, but here's the issue: Iron Fist, like big Iron Ball, is really kind of hard to land if it's not after an M1, and it can be easily parried. It's so disgustingly easy to parry. So if you miss that move, good luck taking Ken off that guy. Also, if you don't hit the Iron Ball directly on him, it's not gonna take off the guard break. I mean the Ken. Also, there's the other move that Iron Fist has, the barrage. They can just block it, but if you miss the last part of it, it's over. You're not gonna take off that Ken anywhere. Because the other moves you have for block breaks will be the single fist thing that doesn't have, it's kind of hard to land raw. There's no combos for it either that I know of. I think you can land the Iron Ball and then that, but if you land the Iron Ball, then you get Ken off. And then everything else, you just gotta whip. You just gotta wait for your cooldowns, man, because he's gonna have that Ken on and he's gonna be destroying you. So if you plan on going Iron Fist main, um, good luck with the Mochi users because that Ken V2 is really, really strong. Right. And because of that, I'm inclined to put Mochi once again above Tori. Because it's just so useful to have that many moves, and it's they're useful. When Tori, you gotta turn into a bird. You have a projectile. You have the ult. You have the burst. You have the heal, I guess, and that's about it. Everything else is pretty meh, mediocre, and Mochi's moves, well, they're all pretty useful. And there's a reason why Mochi is more valuable than Tori, and why Tori is still one of the lowest valuable mythicals. Like, you gotta think of that. Tori's still really decent, but Mochi is just that more useful. Alright. Now, Mara, yeah, Mara is not triple S tier anymore. The recent nerfs and stuff have made it, slightly worse, significantly worse. But it's still really good. It does a lot of damage. But Fireflies was a kind of a big part of it, and Flame Pillar and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna lower it to S tier. Same goes for Buddha. I'm gonna lower Buddha to in between Mochi and Tori. Buddha, the heal was a pretty big part of it, but the problem with Buddha is the base forms. Base form is trash beyond anything. Trash. Then the second form, which is decent, but you need 20% first. And then the ultimate, finally, the only thing good about this fruit. That's the problem. Mochi can be good without needing to farm old bar. That's the issue, right? If you're fighting a single boss, it's gonna be really hard to farm your percentage if you have only one NPC. But if you have multiple NPCs, it's gonna be good. So yeah. So this is the rankings for S tier, and now for triple S tier. I think it stays the same. Magu is really good. Pika V2 is insane. It's probably the best. No, it is the best Logia for PVE. Pika V2 is at the top of. I think it's the most expensive Logia in trading. And Venom, well, Venom is still Venom. Venom is still Venom. Troodon is really good. Despite having, to farm a little bit for the old bar lasts so long. You can fly for so long too. And the barrage, which is comparable to Cyborg, and the flame form that increases the damage of it, and the meteors that I think guard break, I'm not sure. And it's just that good. You can carry your teammates, It is really good. The fact that you can hover and do your moves is insane. And it has the scaling. If you put everything into fruit, it has M1 scaling too, so it's really good. It's honestly pretty good. And but is it better than straightforward Magu? Having two projectiles that do 200 plus damage and burn, and having eruption for single target bosses, and if look good luck if you actually landed with multiple NPCs. Then magma swamp, that's really good for multiple NPCs. Yeah, I think Magu still deserves to be the third best Logia. Well, I mean second best Logia. Sorry, third best Logia would be Mara. Yeah, Magu with the water walk, which you can use Karoo for to travel between islands. That's pretty good. So yes, that's about it for the normal tier list. I dragged on way too long, so uh, I'm gonna put timestamps in the comments so you can just skip my rambling. All right, Goru. We have Goru and we have Moku. Let's start with Goru first. This is shit. This is garbage. I hate this. You have a fist move, which is the same mochi move. What else you have? You have a stun. Wow, a stun. That does nothing. You have a grab. That's another stun. It's not gonna do damage. You have a stump. Another stump that's like Magu eruption, but if it was bad. It's a single hit, massive area of damage or something like that. And it kind of just sucks. And then we have the ult, which is probably the best thing Goru has. That's it. It's the ultimate. And it still does like 300 damage. It's not really that good. This is strictly PvP fruit. In my opinion, it sucks. It sucks for PvE. It sucks so much for PvE, I'm going to put it below Bomu. Yes, that is really sad. And it sucks so much, I'm going to put it below Sushi. Yes. Gold has no projectiles, from what I saw. No projectiles. So I'm going to put it below Sushi because Sushi has flight and it has projectiles that you can do well on set flight. And the ultimate is really good too, to hit multiple things. Moku? Moku? Hear me out. Moku has a couple moves that are very useful in PvE. One of them is the barrage. Right. You think, wait, that barrage is actually garbage. Well, in the patch notes, they buffed the AoE slightly, and if it was even just like 20% or so, that makes this move 100 times better. And this move does a lot of damage too. Because Moku or Smoke has very, very good fruit scaling. You can dump everything into Moku or Smoke, and it's gonna do insane damage. It's like Yami. So put everything into it, and you're gonna have fun in PvE. So why do I think it's better than Yuki and Hie? It's because of the singular move. It's like a storm or tornado move. I honestly forgot the name of the move. But here's the issue with that move. Well, not the issue, the thing with this move. You see, it's a guard break. The AoE is massive, and it does up to 800 damage. On top of that, as a bonus, it can combo extend, but we don't talk about that. You see, the fact that it's a guard break and it has a massive AoE, just like Blast Clutcher, is insane, and it does 800 damage. Like I've seen the Blues video of max smoke damage, and it's insane. And it's really good and useful for PvE. Now, everything else is more PvP oriented, but the ultimate, you can pop the ultimate plus do the tornado move, and you're gonna be doing insane amounts of damage because the ultimate is like a massive cloud of damage. I guess it's like comparable to Venom Smoke, but if it did no damage. And it makes you invisible. And I'm not sure that works for NPCs, that like as if they can't see you, but you take reduced damage as well. So you can tank everything the boss throws at you, and you can do moves while you're technically invisible and whatever. And it's just so good, right? But that's about it. Like everything else is really PvP oriented, and it's not going to be doing as much damage or gonna be as useful as Goru or as useful as Suna and the others. So, yep, that's about it for the tier list. The new fruits are really more PvP oriented. They're really bad for PvE, so I recommend you don't eat them. Though, at least for smoke, I can see some use, and it's a Logia too. But for gold, it's honestly really bad. It's, in fact, it's so bad. I'm gonna put it below Gomu. Because it doesn't have a barrage like Gomu. Gomu has a barrage, it has gear 2, which all do pretty good damage. And Goru just has nothing. It's so bad, man. It's really bad. Well, also smoke is not that good either for PvP, but at least it has some use in PvE. Anyways, that is the final tier list. For real this time. For real this time. Uh, I'm looking, see if I can make another change, but I don't think so. Well, that's about it. Um, hope you enjoyed. This is going to be the last tier list for this update, I think, because For You is not going to be doing any changes so far. The only changes he has done was to smoke. He buffed smoke a little bit and a bit of gold too. But other than that, no other like crazy changes have happened. So yeah, it's been fun. Hope you enjoy and see you guys in the next tier list video. See ya.